I've got some sage here, and I would like to just do sort of like a virtual smudge. We don't really equipped here to have the smoke, but I would like to just give thanks and honor to our ancestors, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, and the people of our community. And it really it really speaks to a great honor that we have that we're able to contribute for future generations. Our ancestors, this was probably part of their dream, was that we'd be sitting here one day and talking to their grandchildren and their great grandchildren. They were visionaries, just like we are, and we need to carry on this dream. So what we're going to show you tonight is our brand new website, which we are really excited about. Our nonprofit corporation, we're a group of volunteers, and we're also composed of a board of directors. And the name of our nonprofit corporation is Ganawandaagwad, to preserve, to protect for future generations. And also, I've got this eagle feather here. And if we could get to the sort of the welcome page, I think this is a good prelude and a good introduction with the eagle feather. So yes, welcome and welcome home to a lot of you out there in cyberspace, wherever you are. Our idea of a website was our ability basically to reach a broader audience. And as you'll see, just on the sort of the second paragraph, yes, we're all one family. And just like this eagle feather, this is our journey. This is our journey through life. This is sort of the basis of our one family approach. And all these little quills here on this eagle feather are all our family members. Everybody's represented here. And so we really, really cherish that our family values, our heritage, and you see our little ducks up there, we were able to tell an amazing story from our First Nation perspective. Not everybody could say, they have a name really derived historically from the land like that, but our Indigenous people are really connected, and it's really reflected in our family names and our values and where we live, which is just like this main shop on the feather. That's French River, Wemtigo Jibi means like Frenchman's River. There were other names to call the French River that we'd like to explore. And you could see some of that in the guided tour, linked right there, which was a video that you could, that was playing beforehand. And when I do talk about some of the history. And I really like this welcome home page, because what we're giving you is a prelude and a basis of history that you can go out and explore more on your own. We're going to be open to your ideas. We're really about sharing and listening to your contributions. And however, we can't do it all. And just like one big family, we need everybody to think about what your contribution could be. And that is like the stories of our elders. And, we have a lot of past contributors to this information. When I think of Lord Restoule and all the history he sort of collected through the years, pictures. There was a real passion there. And then stories from Leonard D'O'Keeffe and Bob and Dorothy D'O'Keeffe. And You know, these stories are really, what really guides us in this website, because it was through their past contributions that we're able to gather this information. And when we think of, our homeland, our home base, we think of, yes, there's Doki's First Nation, but our people were always nomadic. And we had, fur trading posts all over the place. And so if wherever you are out there, you know, you are, this is part of your home. And we would love to hear your message in the future too as well. I've got a couple of things, that I've written down, our community working together. And I think, that's a real take-home message there, because when I listened to those old stories, people were very proud of the lumber camps. People were very proud of their trapping heritage, fur trading heritage. And when we talk about community working together, I heard stories. It was imperative, when you're crossing the ice with those horses and your horse teams, you really had to work together. Toki's developed a logging corporation, and you'll see that on the Eagles of the River um, film. And thanks to Jason Restuel and Gord Restuel, we have a master copy of that Eagles on the River movie film that we're going to send. It's priceless. It's the actual film reel that you would put on the almost on like a projector at school or whatever. And that film is going to go someplace to make a video or a digital copy. But our community have been working together a long time, and they're still working together in terms of Doki's picnics and community functions, hockey tournaments. And what you'll see sometimes or through this website is things a lot of times are my perspectives or our perspectives from our volunteers. But really what that is just a base. And we're looking in terms of future contributions. We need to start someplace. And sometimes in some of the information, there might be a little bit of inaccuracies, but that happens. That happens throughout history. Really, what's more important here is we started something really good, and we started telling those stories. And so, as we proceed through the website, you're going to see some of the projects we've been working on. And one of them was one of the first ones actually was this heritage barn. And that's located in behind the Dokis Museum. We've actually restored this building to the best of our ability, but it doesn't have the big peaking roof on there. But I thought it was a good place, and we thought as a board of directors it was a good place to start with our board, because physically we could show people that we're protecting something historical significance. Here's Sean Restuel, who did a great job. I think that was Uncle Walter standing in front of the old barn. Yeah, some of the project as it progressed. And a historical photo when they actually just built it. Yeah, so some really goodies on here. So Chief Doki's fur trading ledger. You can go on there, take a look at it. We've got writing to describe it. And I want to say something very important with this fur trading ledger is what we've done now is also stamp this fur trading ledger with the Doki's First Nation sort of home base to it, because other people could copy information from here and use this historical information for themselves. But when they started, or people want to extract historical information and use them in other means, that's okay. But it's sort of, this website is sort of our patent per se. Yeah, we have some Ojibwe journal, yeah, early Ojibwe writings, which is really interesting too, because you could actually read current affairs of the day, with 1910, 1911, 1912. We have more information to be added here too as well. I think we have three of these journals, and we just actually just posted one. So another thing too is our website is not going to be static so much. It's going to be living all the time and providing new information or extra information as we go along, because you know, we like to keep things current, and we're having a really fun time with this website. It was been a real pleasure to work with our group of volunteers to bring this information for you. Like that, the Dokis book too, right? So we worked with SOFA Communication, and that's where I'm at right now. We're at here at SOFA Communication in downtown North Bay, and they digitized that whole Dokis book. And we understand too, not everybody's represented in that Dokis book, but it's a start. It's a start. There's some information there. You could contact us, send us an email. We'll look through these emails, and then we'll try to, you know, maybe understand what your questions might be, see how you maybe want to contribute. And we're glad that we might be equally excited as well about this website. And thank you for joining us tonight. I think, there's one thing we'd like to go back to the website though, in terms of our foundation, because I want to give some credit. I promise more miigwetchums. Yeah. So we're going to go look in terms of who we are, so you kind of understand that a little bit better. We essentially started really about some interest over these chimneys that were on the French River and Lake Nipissing, and telling some of their stories. And we got funding and received funding from the Oki-Kendall Hydro Trust Fund in Dokis, who funded us for the Heritage Barn and funded us for this website. And we really happy about their contribution. I think, was something a lot of chiefs, a lot of councils, and a lot of good work from the Dokis First Nation chiefs and councils and administration staff to do big economic development thing like the hydro dam. It was with a lot of dreams of past chiefs. And imagine we're using a lot of that funding now to contribute to the history. So yeah, as we scroll down, you're going to see pictures here. There's going to be examples of some historical clippings. There'll be pictures of yeah, what we like to say, geological features that look like things, there was one place I remember when we heard a story of where Nanabush had sat down on the French River, and we went to look for that place. And it was amazing that we found a place where that was described by elders in the past. And we think we found the place where Nanabujo was sitting down. So there's some pictures on our website that you can enjoy and look through. There's quite a bit of content there. And if you scroll down, it gives you examples of surnames. Now, we're not necessarily doing like a big family tree or genealogical work. What we have here on our website is essentially a base of information where you could start. And you could look for your own information on your family heritage based on some of the information there that we have too as well. Yeah, so there's some of those geological features. You could see well, this is where Drum Rock is on the French River, Old Indian Head Rock. And we hope that there's other people out there that could equally contribute, and this, um, could spark something in your memory too as well. And what happened with me is I'm the baby of the family, and so my my parents were getting older, and as a young boy, I was following them around. And I was hanging out with, the older people in the community and listening to the stories. And 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 I was just like a sponge taking in all those stories. And I love history, and I like to think that that we could do good justice here with this website by telling our stories. And we like to hear about your contributions as well. And there's things out on questions that people have a lot of times is that we don't have an answer to. But with your contribution that and working together on these things, we might be able to tell the story a lot clearer. And so, what happened as well when we, I was doing a lot of presentations on history. A lot of time I'd be speaking on the chief commanda or doing functions here in North Bay. And I was speaking on some history on Facebook one time. And Laura Dilkees, who's one of the fellow volunteer in our group, contacted me and said, Norm, let me help you. And really, that's how we started, and because I was struggling, it's a hard thing, it's a hard job to do by yourself. And, you know, so we started doing some of the groundwork on some of the founding family members and their biographies. And here's a name that came up, it was Louise Abitagasio Larone. And I was saying to Laura, who's like my number one helper, and I was saying, like she's the real hero of the story here, because we're always a patriarchal society without really giving credit a lot of times to some of the founding grandmothers too, like Louise, and so you could read some interesting stuff about her, and then also the information that we could find on Michael Michel Restul too, Wajash, and just like a marriage certificate, like no, yeah, and one of our Lynn Levins as well, who works with our group, found this. I think it was in Michigan. Yeah, this came all the way from Michigan. Was this? Yeah, state of Michigan is this marriage certificate. So you could find things on this website that could be of use to you. But that document is absolutely amazing. And here are some of our founding fathers: Michel Daigle O'Keefe, Francois Xavier Restoul, and Joseph John Restoul. So yes, one family that we could be proud of. There's other names that like Larvier that come about after, and Shepherd, and a lot of names that are associated with Okies First Nation. And I see some old pictures, and I look at some people in our community today, and I'm like, wow, you look just like your great grandfather, and so it's amazing that we don't have pictures for all these people, but some of their descendants we do have pictures of that we eventually be posting. If we go to resources here, yeah, and click on this helpful links. And when we talk about exploring on your own, you can certainly do that. There's a lot of things there, and we just really sort of copy and pasted from any history. But amazing how much history is associated with Doki's First Nation. And that's really nothing to do with our nonprofit corporation or our website. That is the people and the creative people from Dokis and our ancestors who were very interesting. When we look at that movie, Eagles on the River, they talk about how we work together, talk about being independent. When Chief Joe Doki said, "Who but an Indian knows what's best for an Indian?" That holds true for today, till today. So all the insight and knowledge that our past elders had and our past leaders had, is something to be very, very proud of. We have the Dokis Museum there, and there's larger communities than Dokis. They don't have a museum. And so we're very fortunate that we have all this links. We have a lot of information here that you could go through. Yeah, and so we really welcome your questions, and I'll try to answer as best as we can. We're going to try and stick with questions as they pertain to the website or our nonprofit corporation. But we respect that there may be questions that we can't answer right now, but we will, but also to let you know this is being recorded so that we could actually go back and view your questions and answer them to our best ability. So we're seeing miigwech for all your hard work on this. I look forward to exploring the website more thoroughly. Miigwech for that, yes. So we worked with a communications business here, Sofa Communications, and they empowered us to also edit things on our own website, which is really good, so that we're able to be autonomous again. Yeah. So we have a question. We will post a website address on Facebook Dokis pages. And Ganawandaagwad's a bit of a mouthful, like a lot of our Indigenous words are, and easier to click a link than it is to type that into Google search. But one day, you're going to put in Dokis history, and this website is going to come up right away. So, we have questions in the past as well in terms of, like what other things that might come up on this website. And these were just questions that sometimes we had in between ourselves, right? And I think what we'd like to do is something educational all the time. So a little bit about our language, a little bit of facts about our family's heritage. Where were those fur trading posts? If you look at the Robinson-Huron Treaty, and who signed as a witness on that treaty was Alfred Thompson. And Alfred Thompson, he was a lawyer and a judge and from Penetang, but that was Chief Michael Eagle Dokis' main fur trading partner. And so a simple document as looking at the treaty tells a big story. It tells a lot of story. And even the indigenous names on the treaty, explore those, you could find out what they mean. If you look at Michael Eagle Dokes' fur trading ledger, there's a little bit there for everybody. And you'll see a little bit of our intro on when we're introducing that fur trading ledger. But it's quite amazing that that we could actually find who our clans were through that, right? So I was up in Metachewan First Nation, and Dokes had a fur trading post up there. And I stopped in a coffee shop, and they knew who I was, those elders. They said, "You're that young Dokes fella, eh?" And I said, "Yeah." Said, "Your great grandfather is our grandfather." And then I also seen a picture from St. Clair Dokes and his family, and they had a big Montreal canoe. And he was saying that canoe was made up in Metachewan. So we're not only, linked in Dokes, we're linked in Metagami, Horse Nipissing First Nation, Metachewan. And so this fur trading, this fur trading route that Dokes and Restules had went as far as Lake Abitibi down to Penetang Machine. Quite remarkable too. And quite remarkable how our ancestors really, really competed against a huge corporation. The largest corporation in the world at that time was the Hudson Bay Corporation, Hudson Bay Company. And that's something to be very proud of. And that just talks to you about how good business minds they had, and thinking about future generations. And thinking about future generations as well is how Dokes resisted in selling the timber. And that's a great story that we don't even tell here. But that's more stuff that could come up. Yeah. Seeing someone saying, this would be good to share with school boards too. I think, this isn't only Dokes' story. It isn't only our story from our First Nation. A lot of First Nations really have this same story. It's just that we're telling it from our perspective, but it was recorded because of how much our name came up on the landscape, and the tough negotiations with government, the tough negotiations with the fur traders, It was something that we see as written down on paper a lot of times is how, and you'll see that in some of the correspondence, is how really good of a negotiator. No more questions? Well, it was a real honor sharing this website with you. And I hope that you get a lot out of it, and please share it with others. And we look forward to speaking with you again in the future. Shimigwech to everyone.